Thank you for coming, everyone. My name is Eduard Yakubov, and indeed, we're going to speak about responsible gaming today for this little part of the presentation, alongside with Victoria. The topic we're going to discuss is this. I have a sustainability report in my hand. I'm sure Jonna will be very happy to see that. And I have that picture of Lena and Jesper here, and the number next to it is 93%. And that number represents the answer to the question of how many employees rate us as a responsible employer. 93% is a good number. I wish it was higher, and as Lena was saying, I wish it is 100%. I don't think it's possible to make it 100%, but we are working very, very hard to make it 100%. Normally, when we speak about responsible gaming, we speak about different areas that consist of that. So we often speak about player identification journeys, we speak about players at risk, we speak about markers of harm, we speak about detection, and our framework is divided into three main categories. One category is generally the one that is discussed the most. It's the prediction mechanisms and the prediction tools. This is something that is being debated back and forwards. This is something that is being offered by a lot of third-party companies. This is something that lots of companies are developing in-house, as we do at Betsson as well, alongside some of the tools that we use of third-party companies. But this is not the topic that we're going to discuss today. We're going to leave it completely on the side. We're not going to talk about machine learning. We're not going to talk about any of the AI technologies and none of that. It's a very entertaining topic, but we thought, okay, today we're going to go back to the basics. And by going back to the basics, we mean how do we ensure that the employees, specifically the ones that have a very close connection to working with customers, how do we ensure that they care? How do we ensure that they understand what is it that they need to understand about customer journeys? How do we ensure that they're sensitive enough? How do we ensure that they have enough training in that regard? And how do they keep their eyes open, and what exactly are they supposed to look for when they're talking to the players? Because I'm not the one who is talking to the players. The board of directors and the managements are not the one who are talking to the players. Jonna is not the one who is talking to the players either, and not even Victoria in most of the cases.
It happens.
Well, yes. Well, it happens even for me, frankly.
Yes.
But again, day in, day out, that is not something that I do. But there is a large group of people that actually does that job, and we always kind of tend to brush it off, thinking, okay, this is very basic, what are we going to even discuss here? And this is perhaps not of an interest or something. But we feel at Betsson that this is a key element of our responsible gaming strategy, and we are here to describe it a little bit together with Victoria.
Yes,
right?
Yeah, definitely. It's very interesting to see how a big organization, different departments work together for the same goal, and evolving around responsible gaming, and customer service is a big part of it. Customer service is a front of the company, it's a soul of the company, so this should be, and in our case, I'm happy to say it is an example of where we distribute this safety to our customers, and our customer service is quite big. I am part of customer service Betsson Group for 9 years. I started from the very roots as customer service agent. I know all the challenges inside out. By the way, hired by the very Edwards here.
Indeed.
So let's see at the end of this talk if it was a good choice. I guess my 9 years at Betsson shows that it was. And it's so nice to see how industry and company is evolving around the very important topic, how to keep the gameplay under control. And we have so many employees in customer service. We are about 400 people across 8 locations. You can imagine it can be a challenge to maintain the same processes and procedures mentality, how we handle our customers, but this is what we do. And it's nice to see how more and more customers are curious about responsible gaming, about what kind of limits they can impose on their accounts, how to do it, because this is what gives them feeling of control. And it's about pretty much everything in this life. When you have something too much, it might harm you. So it's very good to stay in control. Coming back to sustainability, this is what ensures us to have healthy gameplay for our customers. And we built our structures so that Malta, which is the biggest location for our customer service, Malta has, it's a home for multiple functions which have global role in our operations. And one of these teams is responsible gaming that customer service works very close with and is always supported by this team. Responsible gaming is one of the most important topics that we have in our industry. We should embrace it. And as customer service, as operators, we should always appear confident. We should always appear supportive. And as we know, confidence comes from the knowledge.
Exactly. So here we wanted to touch upon a little bit on the topic of the training and making sure that the procedures are streamlined across all of these locations and countless people, not to mention the different cultures that we have to deal with, because speaking to a Finnish customer, I can guarantee you is very different from what it looks like speaking to an Argentinian customer or speaking to a Spanish customer versus speaking to a Swedish player. So these things are often a little bit of a challenge for us, and making sure that we run the same procedures and the same training material and the same approaches can be a big challenge, especially in case of the training, right?
Yes, this is very true. That's why we invest a lot in our training and onboarding process. To give you more insight, after that 3 days of induction, which is global for all employees that Lena mentioned, we have in customer service 2 weeks of training, and it's mandatory for every customer service individual across all locations. During 2 weeks, we deliver solid training, which is divided into different parts. We speak about our product, about our systems, and big part is devoted to responsible gaming. And it's where we teach not only how to set certain limits on account, how to use them, how they work, how self-exclusion works, etc. But also we empower our employees and give them materials and templates to use if they encounter concerning message from the customer. They need to feel confident, and I've seen customer service agents freeze sometimes when they get this alarming message. And ideally, this should not happen, because it's us who should appear confident and supportive to the customer and guide them further. So we made sure that we have knowledge-based materials, articles, not only explaining the basic principles of responsible gaming, but something that our employees can use right away, templates, phrases, wordings, something to use right away in the real-time conversation with the customer. And then big importance is also to assure that your systems work for you. In our case, a communication tool that we use when we talk to our customers is global, and this is where all parts of operations work, also responsible gaming. And this communication tool, by the way, it's right now, it's powered by Oracle, and it unites all structures of operations. This is where we get customers' query, then it's handled by customer service agent, and if any other team's engagement or expertise is needed, for example, responsible gaming, this is where we can escalate case to that particular team. Moreover, if needed, then same responsible gaming analyst can have a look at customer service agent's conversation with the customer in real time and give their support right away, which is very, very needed in some cases. that's why communication between the teams is so important, and you need to assure that your tools, systems that you work in, they help you to establish this communication between teams.
Exactly. One thing we learned over the years is that when responsible gaming or any other team is hiding behind a Jira ticket, that creates a very hard environment. And if every time you need to log a Jira ticket to reach out to an external team or a team that is sitting maybe even in the same room as you are, or maybe one floor down or up, it becomes a problem not so much of the time, but of the sensitivity. You are often hesitant to do that. You're not sure whether this cause is big enough for you to do that, and you think, okay, it was nothing special. Why would I do a Jira ticket for something as little as that? But our strategy here has always been, and particularly now, is to make sure that an escalation process is as unified and as simple as possible. You can make an escalation in a matter of clicks, and what is a key element of that approach is that we will never deny an escalation. So no matter how big or small it is, no matter how big or small the cause is of that escalation, and could be that someone completely overreacted. That's very possible. You may, we all are humans. This is about human interactions. And we sometimes misunderstand players, sometimes we overreact to what they're saying, although, of course, a big part of the framework and a big part of that escalation framework that we have is the sensitivity and the communication. So speaking to the players, understanding them, addressing the issue right away, ideally, as quickly as possible, but also being alert in terms of everything we can potentially pick as a red flag. So when we talk about these conversations with the players, we are not talking just about the conversations where someone is admitting to have a problem, or someone is straight out saying, I have overspent, or someone is saying I cannot pay rent, or someone is saying I cannot buy a present for my children over Christmas. This is one of the most typical things we hear around December, etc. We're not talking about these things because they're very clear-cut. There is not much to discuss, frankly, here. What we're talking about is people saying, I forgot to take my medication yesterday, so then, and then I use some free spins, and then you start, okay, wait. Is this medication affecting your decisions? Do we need to understand something more about that? Or maybe not, maybe yes, we don't know. But we may need to put that part of the puzzle together with the rest of the things that we see. For customer service agents, it could be just a conversation about someone going through a divorce, which again does not mean one bit that someone has a gambling addiction. These things are not related, clearly not. Right? But the fact that someone is in a more vulnerable state at this very moment could lead to some overspending, or could spiral out of control one way or another, could lead to increased time spent on gambling, for instance, not necessarily immediately the money that people are spending. And this is one of the very early signs that we typically observe, is that before people start spending a lot of money, they start spending a lot of time with us, and they become overly engaged with the product, so to say. So the bottom line of that part that I'm trying to cover here now is that this is not just about the red flags, which are the obvious red flags. This is about the communication, building rapport, understanding the players, understanding what and how they're saying. Yes, there are people, like I was saying, I have not heard once people from Finland referring to anything in their personal lives. They were just not saying these things. They say yes, no, goodbye, bye, yeah, and that's all you hear from them. But there are people from Greece, Italy, and suddenly you are listening about some drama they had last night with their children. Why are you even telling me? No one knows, but these things are these little bits of the puzzle, and as I said, it's not always something super important at a straight value, but when you put it all together, as an analyst working on a responsible gaming case, and then you put it together with the gameplay, and then you put it together with your prediction mechanisms, and then you put it together with all the other data that we have, and we have quite a bit, then you start understanding these things a bit more, and then you can make a decision on whether this is something to be following up on or not. So this is more or less the approach, this super inclusive, super open, trying to consume everything. So we consume quite a bit of false positives. There are many cases where we say, okay, this is not of a concern, but we still want to see that. We want to see that in our records, and we want to be aware of that conversation. And I think this approach has really helped that number that I was showing you in the beginning of our conversation, where people in customer service, people in other operational teams, they feel comfortable that this is not just a tick box exercise, that this is something that we actually care. And when they see that as a result of these escalations, accounts are getting closed, accounts are getting limited, questions are being asked, then this is something that they can relate to, because just making escalations after escalations and seeing no outcome, and then the next day you're again speaking to the same customer, and this customer is again saying the same things that they were saying the day before, nothing has been done so far, and you keep on escalating, and you know, and this is, of course, I mean, needless to say, but this is a key part of making sure that number is growing, and that the overall awareness and understanding of responsible gaming and of what is player safety is high.
The concept of responsible gaming goes as a silver line through whole customer service processes, and how to keep this topic always alive. It should be always circulating. For example, we organize refreshers. This is where responsible gaming team speaks extra about this topic, teaches more how to recognize different customers' gameplay patterns, and how not to miss certain phrase, but for your employees to notice this, you should teach them how to. Yeah, and same time, responsible gaming can coexist and should coexist with happy gameplay for the customer. Yeah, there is no contradiction between those two. Healthy gameplay is a happy gameplay, and whole company should be on the same page about this, and all departments should support this. It's like you're going to the one common goal as a company, so you should have these core thoughts always in front of your eyes. A simple example how responsible gaming coexists with bonuses, with rewards. Customer can have a limit on their account, but same time they can participate in promotions and get rewards. But you as the operator, as customer service operations, you should build such processes which help you identify different kind of situations when one should overrule the other. And of course, responsible gaming will always have priority over rewards and bonuses. And when this customer who has limits and has some rewards as well, when he joins chat and tells, "Can I have a bonus? I lost too much." This should be identified by your employees as a potential thing to react on. And what can be the easy reaction? Just express that this sounds a bit concerning. Maybe you could elaborate on this a bit more. Yeah, a simple one question from your customer service agent can actually save the whole situation. But they need to be curious and alert about these things, and they need to be able to recognize these things. And this is what you as management empower them with and teach them, So you should invest in knowledge and materials they can rely on, especially when it comes to such important and sensitive topics as responsible gaming. And the more serious topic is, in my opinion, the more simple processes should be around this, the more easier they should be to be followed, and the easier it should be to get support from that core party, in this case, responsible gaming team. And this support to feel always they are very approachable, and customer service agent can get help at any moment, and maybe sometimes too much attention from your team.
No, it's okay.
There is
for
no
sure,
there is not
for
too much
sure.
when it comes to
Yeah.
responsible gaming. And what's also interesting that this is place where often customer service agents progress as about the responsible gaming team. In fact, 80% of our employees in customer service, they progress further in the department within operations, and we like to invest in our talents. And it's no surprise that they want to progress to responsible gaming team, because this is a core. I'm happy to see how this industry is developing, that responsible gaming is becoming a core, and this value that has everything evolving around. It's no wonder that people want to progress to responsible gaming team.
Yeah, that is true. We're having maybe half of the team at least is from of people coming from customer service. So I think we need to wrap up more or less. The only last bit that I was going to add on this is that we have covered more or less on a very high level the part which relates to our relationship between the RG and the CS, but the last bit I wanted to say that it's not just the CS that is important. All the teams that one way or another have any kind of touch points with the players are important. Their key account managers, risk team, verification team, IML. IML I'm not even mentioning. These are like my best friends forever. But not even that. Even a simple thing like KYC verification, it is extremely important that those customers, those employees that have quite a tough job of 8 hours in a row of verifying ID documents, and that is the only thing they see on their screens, that they still do ask a question, okay, that document sent for address verification, is that a good document from an RG point of view? Is this maybe a confirmation that someone has taken a loan? And they're uploading it not because they want to say us anything about their loans or maybe their bank account statements, but they're sending these things for completely different reasons. Yet, we still want to react correctly to these things and to be alert about these things. And this, again, requires a lot of reminders, a lot of training, and building awareness around these things so it becomes natural. So it's not just an article written somewhere in the knowledge base, but it's actually something that is built inside the culture and the processes within the operations and beyond. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.